There might be 2 videos planned for today. I might have a Coke one, maybe posted later on. A very interesting video. It's probably be my first review of a product in a long time, to be honest. I haven't done a review of something in kind of a while, to be honest. So let's see how that goes. But this first off, She-Hulk episode 2, my favorite episode of the season so far, dropped last night, like around 12, I think. News talks about She-Hulk and her being a new superhero, and her fighting Titanium, a very new superhero in the Marvel Universe. And I think she's an influencer as well. They said something like that. And they reveal She-Hulk as Jennifer Walters. Jennifer doesn't want to be called the Hulk, and doesn't like to be called She-Hulk. I really like that. I don't really like that name, to be honest, and it makes sense. Jury gets interviewed about Jennifer Walters and the She-Hulk, to be honest. And it's kind of interesting. They have a very favorable mindset towards her because she saved them from everyone. She doesn't like to be derivative of the Hulk, which I definitely do agree with. I think it was kind of a lazy name. I think they're kind of making fun of the name of She-Hulk just because it's just adding Hulk on the end of She-Hulk, to be honest. And not that good of a name, to be honest. Dennis, another person in the legal department, they actually work for like a district attorney. And he's actually mad and said that she did it on purpose to really try to earn favor of the jury. And she says that pretty much doesn't want to be a superhero, and says most of them are orphans, which I would say that definitely does track. A lot of them are Iron Man, Spider-Man, Batman. A lot of the most famous ones are, and kind of interesting point to point out, and very interesting. And then she asks, because her friend says, you could maybe become an Avenger. And she says, does the Avengers make any money? Do they have healthcare, anything like that? Which they don't. They later expose that in Captain America and pretty much the Winter Soldier TV show. They expose that they don't make that much money. And he still had to work and do other jobs and really support his family in that show. So that's kind of interesting. But the boss wants to turn back to Jen to have a talk. And this is very interesting overall. And they didn't win the case because the jury would have been biased against her and ruled in her favor because she saved everyone. So they pretty much had to throw the case out. The other person said that to the judge, and they pretty much threw it out, which they fired her because now she's a liability to everyone. And this is honestly a very interesting episode. I really like this episode. And no one wants to hire her because she's She-Hulk and becoming a distraction. She's looking for other jobs on the computer, even looking to maybe change professions even. After 8 years of schooling, in my opinion, I don't think it would be worth it unless something maybe changed, maybe we're more happy, something like that. And Jennifer Moms invites her to dinner. Jennifer's dad tells everyone she got fired. And Ched, like a cousin, I don't even know what Ched is. I guess a derivative of Chad, I guess. He brings it up like an idiot. And he said he became manager at Best Buy, which seems like a pretty good thing to happen to him. He didn't seem that smart, to be honest. Mom says that she's working in with someone she works with who wants to become a superhero, so she pretty much gave out her number. And Jennifer's actually pretty mad about that. The dad asks about how Hawkeye collects his arrows again, which I'm kind of interested about that as well. Maybe if they were like more magnetic, like kind of like more Mjolnir kind of style, if they flew back to him, that would be kind of interesting. And I don't really know how he gets them back. I think he just like gets more. I'm not really sure. Jennifer is definitely overwhelmed by the questions. You can definitely tell by her body language and how she's acting. Jennifer's dad asks how she is, like in privacy in the garage, and she's asking if she's doing the right thing, and she seems to think that she's getting punished for doing the right thing. I definitely do agree with that statement, just because the reason why she's getting fired is because she saves everybody. If they wouldn't have got saved, they probably would have got injured. A lot of worse things would have happened, and it was honestly a good thing. Doc talks about the other Hulk and said she didn't destroy a city like Banner did, which she did destroy a city in Civil War, which that was probably very hard on the family as well. And Jennifer goes to a bar and drinks, which and later turns in more a positive thing. She's like, oh, I'm not Money Bucks anymore, something like that. And then Holloway, a different rival person, who's actually going against her in the case she was doing before she got attacked, pretty much. And she asks if it's a joke. She doesn't really know first, but they're actually got her fired, and then now they're trying to hire her again. And Jennifer shows up to work, and he pretty much says she has to become She-Hulk at work because she's the face of the new superhero law division, which honestly is kind of a good idea to create. Seems like superheroes definitely need some representation in law in the Marvel universe. I'm surprised there's not more people doing that, to be honest, just because there's probably bigger cases, and a lot of them are probably publicized depending on the hero, which does make sense. Jennifer has to be at work as She-Hulk, like I just said. She-Hulk's really worried about what everybody will think about her getting the job. I like the fourth wall breaks, honestly, in the show. It reminds me of Deadpool. She did that in the comics as well, the original She-Hulk comics. And she made a stipulation that she wanted the paralegal that was originally with her to become in the thing as well. And Pug, another guy there, pretty much gives her a basket. He's pretty nice to her overall. I feel like he's the only one who really even have a conversation with her out of all the employees in the office. First case is a parole of Abomination, which for those who don't know, in the first Hulk movie, Abomination fights the Hulk, and the government sends him after the Hulk after the Hulk goes, like, I guess, like, pretty much goes against the government. So that's pretty interesting overall, and they're doing it for free, pro bono, because it's good press. She-Hulk is very familiar, and she said he tried to kill Bruce and doesn't want to take it, and he says pretty much if you don't take it, you're gonna lose your job. She meets Abomination at prison. She can't come in as She-Hulk because they're worried about if something escalates, if they fight each other or something like that. And for safety rules, she has to sign a waiver to even enter the door. Door opens up, and the last time we saw, I don't want to reveal into the end, but it definitely leads in that. Jennifer is nervous to meet him and he says namaste. His name's Emil, and he's not the Abomination anymore. He's like turned into more of a normal version of himself. Jennifer and Emil talk about how he tried to kill the Hulk pretty much, and she pretty much says how he went on a rampage in Harlem, and he says it was the government serum they gave him. So I didn't really see that much of the Hulk. I guess they gave him super soldier serum and to pretty much turn him into a very different version of the Hulk, more of an evil version. And Emil is writing his haikus to really get released from prison and go on a parole, which I don't know, she doesn't think it will work to really forgive for the victims, but overall, and truthfully, she says just say stuff truthfully and don't try to like say what they want to hear. Try to be as truthful as possible, because they can probably spot if you're being like disingenuous and trying to be like play it up a bit. Emil asks Jennifer help, and pretty much she says she'll think about it. Holloway wants a response about taking the case or not. She calls Bruce to ask him about it, and she's diffusing him and calls Bruce to tell him about pretty much, and he pretty much says it was years ago and they were a completely different person that they used to be, and what they literally were a different person. The Hulk used to be played by Ed Norton, and now it's Mark Ruffalo, which it was literally a completely different person, so different actor and all, so it's supposed to be a joke. Bruce asks what their name is, asks what her name is as a superhero, and he pretty much laughs at her saying it's She-Hulk, and he finds that funny, to be honest. And she asks Bruce if he's coming to LA soon, and then it pans out to show a spaceship behind pretty much where Bruce is, which is very interesting overall. Jennifer calls back and says she's taking the job, and then the guy says, Holloway says to check the news, and pretty much kind of interesting thing in my opinion, Shang-Chi, if you've seen the movie, he's fighting in an underground fight club, and that's pretty much what happens. That was the last time we saw Abomination. I would give this episode rating a 9.7 out of 10. Abomination, seeing him in She-Hulk was a very good pretty much show. I've really liked the show so much. Abomination's probably been a very kind of a good character, to be honest, and I think she adds a lot of new things in the Marvel universe. I feel like it makes it a lot more interesting. And what's your opinion on this? I really do like this show. And when Bruce is on the spaceship, does this really mean that he's somewhere else? Like he's gonna do because supposedly there might be a Planet Hulk movie, so it could be something else. Who knows why he's in space, but this is a very interesting show. Abomination escapes at the end. Very, very, very good show. probably one of the best Marvel episodes I've seen in a while, since probably Moon Knight's final episode, which is a very good one. Deals with a lot of trauma in the episode. I already gave my final rating 9.7 out of 10, and this is probably going to be the end of the video. Might post another video, like I said earlier in the video, but comment down below your opinion, and what do you think?